And John Claypool, will you lead us in a word of prayer, please?
Father, we stand before you again in thanksgiving for the goodness that you give us. We pray today for Third Vice President Sharon Nolan, who lost her son. We ask you to watch over her and her family. Hold them in your arms. We also ask you to watch over the people in Lahaina, Maui, and Hawaii. Hold them in your arms also. We thank you for this food that has been given to us. We ask you to bless it to our bodies. We thank you for the Boy Scouts that helped us out at the rodeo. A lot of us are in better shape for them running up and down the stairs. We thank you again and ask you to bless us in service to our community. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, John. Pledge of Allegiance, Mike Parker, will you lead us?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Bob Bradley, will you use your golden voice to lead us in song, please? For spacious skies, for amber waves of grain, for purple mountains, majesties above the rooted plain. America, America, shed his grace on thee, and shall thy good brotherhood from sea to shining sea. That's real normal for us. Okay. Okay. And speaking of Boy Scouts, let's introduce our guests now. Lion Tamers.
President Cheryl, fellow Lions guests.
Just a second. What, Terry?
Can I get them to eat?
Oh, they haven't eaten yet.
They just got it.
Certainly, they can get up and go eat, and we'll just pick up that part later on.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Isla, Greg, Mike, and Hal would like to introduce some guests today.
Wonderful.
Josh, who will be inducted in 2 weeks. And who else? Greg. Let me come to you, Greg.
Jay, you'll be inducted in 2 weeks.
Okay, Jay's going to be inducted in 2 weeks. Hi, Jay. Who else? Oh, and Josh has a guest, Jordan, right here. And Mike Parker has a guest.
Cheryl, for all lines of guests, I'd like to introduce a good friend who probably wishes he hadn't come today. Past District Governor Dave Risley from the Polsbo Lions.
Welcome, Dave. Glad to have you with us today.
Okay, Mike, you were mumbling. What Lions were you from?
Polsbo.
Hey!
President Cheryl, fellow Lions. I said fellow Lions this time.
You did.
By the way, when I was at a garage sale, there was a sign that says, "Feral people live here." Oh, almost got that for you. I introduced her as Feral Cheryl last week. Yeah. Passes the Governor Dave, good to see you. And Lions and guests, I would like you to meet Danny Wicken. She is an escrow officer at Stewart Title.
Welcome,
No
Danny.
Brand X for Leroy and Terry. But I'm going to tell you, Leroy and Danny worked together decades ago, right? Back when you were a baby? a Chicago title in there in town. I think I just was talking with her the other day, and she said, yes, I'd like to come, and here she is.
Welcome. We're so happy to have you with us.
Do we have any other guests? Are you a guest? Who are you?
Oh, cold.
Oh, okay. Nick? Yeah. Okay.
That's Nick Lemire. He belongs here.
I've seen him. Oh, he's an absent member.
Yeah.
Madam President, fellow Lions and guests, this is a sad $5. You have heard Sharon, our third VP's president. Her son did in fact pass away on Sunday. She is devastated totally after everything that has gone on. And she's embarrassed because she actually has to do a GoFundMe to help with funeral expenses. So if anyone can spare a buck or two, just let me know. I've got a bucket right here.
Let's use this bucket.
Oh, we have another guest? And your name? Hi, Michael. Judge Mike, okay?
If you don't know him, that's a good thing.
Yeah.
And Judge Mike, we will give you an opportunity to grab some lunch, and we'll introduce you properly after that.
Now, I just made her
Properly.
get this silverware. I don't care. All right. Okay. Okay. I'm walking
About
around.
done?
Happy sad dollars.
Okay, hang on a second. I think John has something he wanted to share with us.
Okay.
President Cheryl, I'd like to make a motion that the happy dollars and fines and other monies collected today go to Sharon.
So, John has made a motion. Do we have a second? Did you all hear that motion? Okay, that the
Thank you.
monies collected today would go to Sharon to help pay funeral expenses.
Thank you.
Motion is made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Looks like it's flying. Okay, great.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sharon. Thank you, Isla.
You're welcome, Cheryl.
Okay.
Now, don't.
All right, back to the old program here, at least the agenda.
Steve.
What I have next is that we would introduce these fine young boys. So Terry, would you like to take the mic and do your magic?
Excuse me, here's a mic.
Nobody named Mike here.
The young man and two ladies.
Yes. Thank you, President Cheryl, fellow Lions guests. Today I'd like to introduce my guests with the Boy Scouts. They helped us down there at the fair running the deal. And I was trying to figure out what they know about their group and what they're to where the Lions are. The Boy Scouts were then we started in 1908, a long time ago. The Lions started in 1917. So at any rate, we were here though quicker than the Boy Scouts, I think. But anyway, we're in 1923. Our 100 year here is the same as the city. Troop 702, which is this group, they're only about 30 years old. The reason that we get them is that we were their sponsor when they started out. My son and Kermit White's grandson, Steve Branch, hung around together, and so they to get it started, they needed a sponsor club, so they came to us, and we said okay, and it hasn't cost us a penny in those years outside of trying to get them here a few gray hairs. At any rate, yeah, they really nice to have them here. At one point, when we first joined the club, or when we first sponsored them, their new scouts would get a kerchief, and they were purple and yellow in honor of the Lions Club at that point. I don't know if you still get those things or not, but at any rate. But they have helped with the rodeo. We, for a couple of years before the pandemic, they were here and they ran up and down the stands. And the bad part about it is that these kids grow up. You know, we get a new group all the time, which isn't the bad thing. That's a great thing. But they're all good workers, and they've learned a lot. We learned a lot by watching them work too. Anyway, they also do walk and knock, so they do more than just that. Anyway, when the pandemic hit, we didn't use them for a while because we didn't want to infect everybody or anything like that. Last year we thought about it, and we couldn't either get in touch, or the people I got in touch with wasn't Angela. And anyway, this year Angela called Lloyd, and I got a message to give her a call and get the Boy Scouts down there. So she said they would and stuff, and sure enough they did. Anyway, today I'd like to introduce Angela Wood. And Tanner and Spencer Malin, and their mother, Jamie Malin, and Jacob Lemons, the big tall kid here.
Welcome, Scouts.
This is what you can aspire to be, Steve, when you grow up.
All right. So, they're, okay. All right, I wondered about that.
Angela, you come up here to the front.
Angela, please come.
Cheryl has
Come
a
and
little
see me
donation.
for a minute here. In thanks and in respect for the work your boys have done for us, and in honor of your troop, and in great thanks for all that you've done for Pioneer Lions, we would like to present you with this check for $1,000.
Oh, wow. Thank you.
You're welcome. You're very welcome.
Pretend you're taking her again. Sorry.
Oh, sorry.
Because Sharon normally does this.
Okay. All right. Okay. Now you can chow down.
Are we ready?
So, yes, you can. We're back on track with
All right.
our Happy Bucks.
Here's Mr. Ken Botero.
Yes, sir. Head Young Minister. President, Sharon, fellow Lions and guests. First of all, this is for Sharon. The other two Happy Bucks, I am tickled pink to see when we have all our Boy Scouts here, one of the best scout leaders we've had before. Michael, welcome to the club. We'll talk about the Boy Scouts and you. Remember? And the other Happy Buck is Marnie is so excited. She's just beside herself. Big Blue comes off tomorrow. I'm leaving home. My wife loves me. Anyhow, Big Blue comes over tomorrow, and I don't have to hit her in the head anymore when I say.
Excellent.
President Cheryl, happy $2. Happy to see the Boy Scouts here. It brings back a lot of fond memories of my childhood when I was in Cub Scouts and then Boy Scouts and then another organization called the Rangers. So it was a lot of fun. The other part is I wanted to let you know that I had occasion to drop into Sherwin-Williams paint store on Ocean Beach yesterday, talked to the manager, and he's been involved with the totem poles in Kalama, and they helped us out over 20 years ago with a donation of paint for the totem pole, and at this point in time they could offer us a discount. The paint that he recommends is $83 a gallon, but and he recommended that we use a primer prior to that. But he said if we contact him during the first quarter of next year, they may be able to work out a free donation to us.
Thank you. Pat?
President Cheryl, for all Lions and guests, donation for Cheryl there. And then my Happy $5. You might notice I'm sporting a nice wooden cane back here. Yep. Yeah, that's what happens when your size 13 feet don't fit on a size 9 step, and you weigh a little bit more than you ought to.
And no alcohol was involved.
None whatsoever. But I'm thankful that that's the only thing that broke. Let's just put it that way. Been a pretty fun week. You know, there's nothing like having men's. There's just nothing like it. It's awesome. So, yeah, but it's kind of fun. The next part I'd like to do is to really say thank you to the Boy Scouts. You guys made a huge impact, and we are so thankful for you. Would like to make sure that we get you reserved for next year, right? You're on our calendar. We're on your calendar. Perfect. Last happy buck is next week. I won't be here. Where are we going?
We're going to Lincoln City.
I'm going to Yellowstone. Sherry and I are going to fly over, and she's going to do a little work, and then we've got 3 days of just kind of going through and seeing the site. So it'll be a fun week. So we'll see you the first week of September, I guess. No, maybe it's the last week. Yeah, there you go. We'll see you then.
Yeah, we're going to celebrate my sweet 16th birthday. Are you guys laughing at me? Mr. Steve, past district governor.
Thank you, thank you. Thank you very kindly. President Cheryl, Lions and guests, here's a 20 for the GoFundMe for Sharon. I too was a Boy Scout way back. I still remember how to tie some of those knots. Not all, some.
Well, one knot was good, you tied.
Yeah. Thank you. Eric?
Wait a minute, Steve. Terry said the Boy Scouts didn't organize until 1907.
Queen Cheryl, fellow Lions and guests. There's money there too. So anyway, what do you mean you didn't see me? Steve was standing up. Yeah, you should have still been able to see me.
You were being quiet, which is very rare.
Well, I'm rare. But anyway, yeah, that's it.
Sorry.
Don't forget Maryland.
Gosh.
This time.
Okay, it's Eric's turn.
It is Eric's turn this time. Here you go, sweetie pie.
President Cheryl, fellow Lions and guests. Just really happy weekend. Took my 3 daughters camping over by the 8 Caves. And then on Saturday, I took them into the 8 Caves for the first time. We stayed nice and cool. It was a great time.
Cool.
What's an 8 cave?
8 caves.
8 cave. I didn't even know it existed. I'm not from here. Greg?
President Cheryl, fellow Lions and guests, I'm really happy the Boy Scouts helped us this year. When I came into this club 45 years ago, we ran up and down the stairs. But 45 years ago, I could do that. I'm happier than heck to see you here today, and you guys earned that money.
Oh, yeah.
And I hope you use it for a good cause, camping, gear, whatever. Beer.
And Mr. Parker, did you have a birthday 2 days ago? Are you lying to me? Greg lied. You lied. Get him, not me.
Here.
I'm just making a donation.
Okay.
President Cheryl, fellow Lions and guests, I got a couple bucks for Sharon and also another one. We took my wife and I took my sister and nephew down to the Tillman Cheese Factory. Found out that they had never been inside there, and
So we had a fun little trip down there. Also, seeing the scouts here reminds me of when I was a Boy Scout. Unfortunately, I'm down in Southern California, so I hope you guys enjoy, and thank you for your help.
John? Could you say that louder?
No.
Hi, Mark. Everybody's shocking me today.
Big shock. First donation, and then $5 normal happy bucks. First happy dollar, short stuff Steve. I got to work next to him and Sarah in the grill. And I tell you, they are a machine. They're cranking those things out. I don't know if it's just because the grill's the right height for you, Steve. You were right along. You were doing a great job. And Sarah was doing it. I was very appreciative of being prep number 2 because I have the easier job of that. Sad dollar, many husbands can relate to this. I got to go furniture shopping with my wife over the weekend. And we ended up buying a lot larger piece of furniture than we were originally started to look at. So I think other husbands can relate to that as well. Quote of the week from Carl Sandburg. Time is the coin of your life. It's the only coin you have, and only you can determine how it will be spent. Be careful lest you let other people spend it for you.
Thank you. Ron? Hi. Wake up, my love. Thank you. Thank you. There's a guy right there. From the Papa Blow Blow Club. I've never heard it. I'm going. Paul. Paul's boat.
Close both.
You're gonna get it.
Spelled wrong. That's the problem.
Okay. Paul's boat.
Are you about, okay, we have a speaker, so we need to move on.
President Cheryl Phil Lyons, in your honor, here's the good news. I knew him before he was a judge, and so I could say nice things about him. Yes, that's of course. Oh, some stuff for Cheryl, a real Sharon, yeah, a very sad dollar for Sharon, and that I can understand how she might be feeling. Second happy dollar, Boy Scouts. I was with Greg back in those. My first project was the county fair, and my sponsor, Terry Kennison, put that thing around my shoulders and the popcorn in the stands, and I am so thankful you guys are around. David could not be here today, but he's going to bring his dues next week. And then what was the last thing? Oh yeah, hottest day of the year yesterday. What did I do? I went down and worked in my boat engine, and I found the broken impeller. So I'm on to the next step.
Thank you. I'm coming through. I'm coming through. I'll be there. Mr. Woodruff?
Mr. Woodruff. I must be in trouble. She uses my middle name, I'm in real trouble. King Line, Cheryl Phil Lyons guest, I've got like $5 happy to them for Sharon. 3, I've got of my 8 grandchildren, 3 of them are this week. Cooper will turn 25, or did turn 25 on the 13th. Which is the other one? Oh, Owen, tomorrow he turns 5, so he's my youngest, and Cooper's my oldest, so there's 20 years in, and then it goes in. And then Olivia is my oldest granddaughter, and she'll be 13 on the 19th.
Excellent.
Here I come. The man I've never seen before, Mr. Nick Lemire.
President Cheryl, fellow Lions and guests, to piggyback off of Terry Woodruff here, he's mentioning the name of, or the birthdays of all of his grandkids, but he did mention that today is actually his birthday. So happy birthday to Terry Woodruff, everybody.
Snuck that one in, didn't you? Okay.
Okay. All right. Are you, oh, Carrie Ann?
President Cheryl, fellow Lions again. I was gonna say, if I start crying, it's because of your singing, not because I'm talking about something sad. I'm putting $100 in the basket. And it is gonna get me, I can't imagine losing your son. So there's been a lot of death lately. So excited to see a new baby coming pretty soon. So that'll be the excitement part of it.
Well then, tail twisters, are you done giving people the hairy eyeball? Shaking them down?
Yes. Okay, so a couple happy bucks. Last Tuesday I wasn't here, which was really fun, not being here. Instead I was down at Forest Grove, down at the McMillan's Grand Lodge. Took 2 days, we were down there. Went down to the Grand Lodge for a concert by Michael Frente. And if any of you are friends with me on Facebook, you can go look it up yourself. But I made my national debut singing and dancing on stage in front of 4,000 people with Michael Frente. So there you are.
I saw it.
The singing was better than the dancing.
Thank you. And thank you everyone who donated to Sharon.
All right. So,
Sorry.
Sunshine Report, do you want to tell us about the cards, please, Anna? Or Rose?
Okay.
One for Sharon. If you haven't signed it, please catch that on your way out today.
Cheryl?
Yes.
President Cheryl, fellow Lions and guests, I got a phone call on my way here today from Dick Sorensen. He's having cardiac problems.
Oh, dear.
He sounded on the phone like he didn't feel good. So just keep Dick in your prayers.
We will do that. One quick thing I need to say, and then we will turn it over to you, Kurt, to introduce our esteemed guest today. But guys, have you been seeing Halloween decor in the stores lately? Yeah, already? Lots of candy and stuff? Yeah, it's time to buy some of that candy and bring it to our meetings for the Parks and Rec trick or treat at the lake event. Remember that thing we have at Halloween that the kids go around and they get candy at the lake? So we provide some of that candy, so it's time to start loading up, bringing it on into meetings, and we'll have a whole bunch to donate to Parks and Rec when the time comes. Don't know exactly the date yet, but when I learn it, I'll fill you in on more on that.
Halloween's the 31st.
Yeah, but I'm not sure the event is. We'll see. Probably it'll be either Halloween or very close to it, and I'll let you know for sure when I know. Okay, Kurt, take it away.
Thank you. President Cheryl, fellow Lions and guests. It gives me great pleasure to introduce today's speaker. Today's speaker is a Superior Court judge here in Cowles County. He grew up in Murray, Utah. He attended the University of Utah and Brigham Young University, and then got his law degree from Seattle University. Immediately upon graduating, he started with the Cowles County Prosecutor's Office in 2001, and then in January of 2019, he was appointed to a newly established position as a district court judge. And then thereafter, in 2011, he was appointed to the Superior Court by then Governor Gregoire. Is that right? Yeah. And then he's been reelected as Superior Court Judge 2012, 16, and 20. He is married. He has 3 adult children. His youngest is 19 and attending the Washington State University. So, go Cougs. Go Cougs. Anyway, he's recently, I went on the Bar Association website, and he was recently, in June of this year, awarded the Local Hero Award for his work with regards to ethics committees, the Ethics Advisory Committee, and the Judicial Conduct Committee for the State Bar Association. So he's well recognized, a great local judge. Would you give a warm welcome to the Superior Court Judge Michael Evans?
You don't need
You can, if you don't need the box, you can, I can keep it away for you.
That's fair. But you're used to being at the front.
Yeah, that's true.
There you go.
Okay, I think I'll use the height booster. The other day, we had some friends visit us, and we were taking pictures. They were visiting from Seattle, and they're all pretty, my family, my wife and my children are really short. I mean, our tallest person in our family other than me is 5'2". So she looked at me when I was taking the picture. She said, "You're a pretty tall man." And for a guy who's 5'9", you'd love to hear that. So here I am. So thanks for the invitation. It was so fun coming in here today and just being with you today. Such great energy and kind of a dangerous energy because you could get skewered, I think, pretty quick. But a fun group. So thanks for being here and thanks for inviting me. Long ago, I earned the award of Eagle Scout Minus. You may not be familiar with that award, but it's when you complete all your required merit badges, and then you put your foot down because your mom really wants you to get your Eagle before you turn 18, but you will not be pressured into getting your Eagle Scout. And so for the rest of your life, you become an Eagle Minus, and then when they welcome you up to the Eagle's Nest, you sit in the back and just kind of hang your head down low. It's one of the few things I regret in life. So happy that you're on a good track and you've got a great mom. I know, Jamie. So I just wanted to share a little bit with you about the courts. Shocker. Invitation to each of you. We're trying something new. It's called State of the Courts. You know how they do the State of the Union. We're going to do State of the Courts. So if you want to come and listen, it'll be a riveting material, I'm sure. September 14th at 5:30 over at the Hall of Justice. Nobody's getting their pencils out and writing that down. So it's a standing invitation. Feel free to look at the website and you can refresh your memory if you want to come and do that.
What time is it?
5:30? 5:30 in the afternoon. Yeah. So just to give you an update on COVID, as you know, when COVID struck, the world shut down, we shut down too. And we've slowly, I think we're almost fully reopened, but we've kept a few of the video conferencing links in place for those kind of more perfunctory type dockets where, like today we had what's called a readiness docket. So the week before a trial goes out, we gather together because there's dozens of cases that are set for trial on a particular week, and then we sort out which case is going to go for the next week. And so everybody appears via Zoom for that. Also on the no contact or protection order docket, that tends to be a fairly volatile docket. That's in person and people can appear via Zoom if they want to. So that adds a nice buffer, if you will, if you're there saying, hey, I don't want this person around me because they've harassed me, they threatened me, I'm terrified. And so being in a completely separate space is really important. So we've kept that Zoom quality or that Zoom opportunity for people to appear. For the most part, everything else is in person, which is so good. Because you know how it is on Zoom. You just get that two-dimensionality and you miss the energy that exists in a room when people are there. You pick up on nuances, you can hear people discussing things, you can have those side conversations. So I think it's very good for the process that we're back in person. The Superior Court judges were in charge of the juvenile detention and juvenile probation programs. There's a lot going on with that with the Juvenile Rehabilitation Act. The goal, obviously, the idea is that brains are not fully formed until age 25. That's kind of the prevailing science. And kids, we all were once, and some still are, we make dumb decisions, right? Really dumb decisions. And the U.S. Supreme Court has decided a few cases back ago where they said that if you were a child under the age of 18 and you're convicted of a crime and you're sentenced for life, you get a redo on that. So then the idea is that your brain wasn't fully formed, you're an adolescent, and you have an opportunity to have a hearing to see if you get released, to see if you've been reformed, no longer a threat, and you've been hopefully rehabilitated. So at our juvenile facility, our detention numbers have dropped quite a bit. The average daily population used to be upper teens, 20s. Now it's in the 7 to 8, maybe we get up to 10 on occasion. Not a lot of kids are being detained, and they're not being detained for very long. The idea is to hopefully, obviously there's certain kids that do some stuff that's seriously scary and violent. Those are the kids that are usually staying in juvenile detention until their cases are heard. For everybody else who gets either adjudicated, their case is resolved, or if they're just awaiting their trial to happen, they're diverted to services. And it's interesting, I grew up in a family where my dad owned a company, employed about 200 people, very capitalistic, and he hated paying taxes. The man was audited 5 times. He hated paying taxes. And he was very much a proponent of kind of doing the right thing and not relying upon government. And then in my position now, I see a lot of people who didn't have the benefit of a good household where you're taught how to do things, basic things. Let me give you an example. There was a young man who was assigned to do probation. And part of his probation was he had to do work crew. So every day for a period of time he had to come and do work crew for about 6 to 8 hours. One day he'd show up at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. Next day he shows up at 11:30. Next day he shows up at 7:30 in the morning. Next day he shows up at 4 in the afternoon. And we were just like, what's your problem? You're supposed to be there at 8 o'clock in the morning to do your service, your work crew. He says, what are you talking about? As soon as I wake up, the first thing I do is go do my work crew. Somebody suggested to him an alarm clock. He had never heard of an alarm clock. So what I'm saying is that there are some deficits in parental rearing of children. And you see it, you feel it. And so and I don't know if it's the function necessarily of government, which is we the people, or if it's more a function of churches or other community groups to help with that. So juvenile is focused on hopefully overcoming some of those deficits, that some of those children just were never given the opportunity or never instructed on how to live life. Basic things like a schedule, like to write down what you have to do on a day. So that's one thing we do at juvenile. The other thing that's kind of exciting is that we're pairing up with Lower Columbia College to have what's called a cooperative education program, where students who are interested in juvenile justice, they come and volunteer over at the juvenile center with the probation and detention departments. They get credit for their educational pursuits. We get the benefit of their good energy and their excitement and their good ideas and their service. So that's a nice synergy that's been created, and we're excited about those possibilities there. The Hall of Justice is a beautiful building that's in the style of the brutalistic architecture. It's a thing. The most probably famous example of brutalist architecture is the Boston City, what do you call it? The Hall, City Hall. That's the word I was looking for. City Hall. So we had a survey done. They checked out the building. They said it has really strong bones. But the heating and ventilation air conditioning system is... Have you served on jury duty? How is the HVAC system working during your time? Okay. Good. I like to hear that. At a recent jury, we had to adjourn because it was 87 degrees inside the jury room. Sometimes during the winter, it's blowing out cold air. Sometimes during the summer, it's blowing out hot air. And bless their hearts, the maintenance guys, they're doing all they can do. Really, and so the system is kind of, it's being patched. And so it's not a good system. We're running out of space. There's 6 courtrooms. There's 8 judges in the Hall of Justice. There's 3 district court judges and there's 5 superior court judges. And we're asking for a 6th judge. So that would mean 9 judges, 6 courtrooms. Doesn't work super great. And if you've served in those lovely jury rooms, so much space to relax, spread out. It's very tight. It's very tight. Same thing with the jury waiting room, which is just the lobby on the 2nd floor. So things have changed a lot since the 50 years that it was built. Things have improved and we have more understanding of what makes a good courthouse. So don't be surprised in the future if there may be a push or a request for a facility. And I know I don't want to spend that much money on a new facility. And I don't know if you tear things down, if you renovate it, if that's more expensive than just tearing down and rebuilding, who knows. But that's on the horizon. We're really cramped for space, and it's an issue. It's an issue where if we want to have 3 jury trials in one day, we cannot. The max we can have is 2. And on today's readiness docket, I assigned 4 trials deep Because if one doesn't go, then the next one goes. If that one doesn't go, then that one goes. So we're doing our best to get cases out, but they're stacked. So we're having a real issue with congestion. So we'll see what happens with that. Want to talk to you a little bit about, okay, in Longview, what is the sales tax rate? Anybody know off the top of your head? 8.2, 8.1, 3.2, 8.1, 8.2. Sold! Yeah, so there, of that 8.2, 8.1, 8.8, 8.7, 3.1, whatever it is, of that there's a 0.01% tacked on to every sales tax, to every purchase that you make in Cowlitz County. That is earmarked for behavioral health. So last year that brought in revenue of approximately $2.1 million, I believe, $2.2 million. And those monies are earmarked to support behavioral health within Cowlitz County. They give the counties opportunities to decide what's important for the county. This tax was first passed in 2012 as authorized by the state legislature, and it allows counties to collect that. Our Board of County Commissioners several years ago said, hey, that's a good idea, let's do it. So those monies have been funding principally therapeutic courts, which is drug court, mental health court, dependency court, and juvenile drug and alcohol addiction court, or SAFE court as it's called. That is up for, it's sunsetting in 2023 at the end of this year, or at the beginning of next year, I'm not sure which. And the Board of County Commissioners are in discussions and making a decision on whether that tax should continue. There's a lot of debate. Nobody likes taxes. Nobody says, hey, sign me up for 9%, as the gentleman in the back offered up. Nobody likes that. And yet, in our current system, we used to have mental health hospitals. When people were ill, they could go to a mental health hospital and receive treatment. Not really today. The default mental health hospital in Cowlitz County is the Cowlitz County Jail. That's our mental health facility. Bad place for somebody who's mentally ill to be hanging out. So we have drug court, which our drug court's pretty fantastic. It's been around about 25 years, and we've had studies done by professors who show that we're doing a really good job. So about 80% of the graduates after a period, I think it's 5 years, have not recidivated. Which is significant, which goes to the fact that when you have a drug addiction and criminality, the idea is that if you can address the drug addiction, then the criminality will go away. Not everybody. Some people are just kind of jerks and keep on committing crimes. But for most of us, when we're addicted to drugs, we're addicted to drugs and we're going to do what we need to do to get our fix. You address that underlying drug addiction problem, you address the criminality, and it stops. Not everybody's perfect. People relapse. You know, when you're buying a used car, if you're the salesman, you got to get the buyer to say no how many times before you make the sell? It's like 7, I think. Same thing with relapse. It's a learning process. As people get into drug court, they will relapse. But the hope is that over time they build the strength. And I'll tell you, I'm over the mental health court and the drug court right now. And I'm in an interesting position where weekly I get to meet with people who are actively working their recovery. Sometimes they slip up, sometimes they're doing awesome, we celebrate them. We had a gentleman, his name's Aaron, and he had been, we call them flop houses. Flop houses is where you go to get your drugs. We celebrated each day that he did not go to a flop house. So I said, Aaron, how many days? 13, Judge. Haven't been to a flop house in 13 days. That means he'd been clean for 13 days. And then 2 weeks went by and he still hadn't gone to a flop house. So we stopped counting. It's like, he's not going to flop houses anymore. Came in and he relapsed, and you could see the marks on his face, methamphetamine. And we were encouraging him. He's getting back into his services. And then his dad was going by to go pick up his son, Aaron, to go to his mother's birthday party. His dad entered into the room, saw Aaron on the bed with a syringe in his arm, and Aaron passed. And it's weird when you see somebody 1 week, and then the next week they're not there. Because you make a connection, because these, even though they've committed crimes, they've admitted that to get into the drug court program. They're still your daughter, they're still your son, they're still your friend, they're still your niece, their nephew, your child, your community member. And it's easy to throw people away. And some people need to go away and need to go away for a long time. Don't get me wrong. And there's other people who are addicted. Maybe they didn't get support. Maybe they did get support when they're young. But this mental health court and drug court addresses the underlying issues, so hopefully they don't come back into the system again. And our staff and our program is top notch, and it produces good results. About 80%, like I said, not recidivating in 3 to 5 years. That's where the behavioral health tax comes into play. So if that funding is cut, my hope is if the commissioners want to do that, cut it. That's okay. But still fund the therapeutic courts because they're producing good results. Lives are being saved. Lives are being changed. Not everybody, but a lot. So if you see your Board of County Commissioners and you have some thoughts on that, share whatever you want. I don't care what you think, but it's good to be involved and share your thoughts. And of course I have kind of my druthers of what I'd like you to say, but do what you need to do. Going back to the Hall of Justice, we had an incident the other day where we were at the, as you go into the Hall of Justice, there's that lovely scanning area, and there's some security guards there. Well, I heard this after the fact. So a lady who was on jury duty entered into the Hall of Justice, put her bag on the scanner, scanned it. You see the image come up on the screen, and it clearly shows a handgun. Scanner person kind of missed that, kind of the daily routine, missed it, and then other people kept on going. The lady went up, took her bag, went upstairs, and then the security supervisor, looks up and sees the screen and says, "Oh my gosh." He booked it upstairs, caught her as she exited from the elevator and said, "Come with me." I was flabbergasted. Number one, everybody that comes to the Hall of Justice has an absolute right to feel absolutely safe in what can be a very volatile space. The Hall of Justice, people are not going there for a party. They're not going there for fun times and lots of smiles. They're going there for the most heart-wrenching, difficult things in life. Divorce, child custody, going away to prison, losing custody of your children. It's not a happy place, although we do get to do adoptions, which are very happy. So that goes to show you, even if you've got a system, it's not fail-proof. If you've ever looked at the secure parking under the Hall of Justice, it's not, and I'm trusting each of you that you're not going to ambush any of us that park down there. But if you wanted to, you just wait till that gate comes up, you just walk in, take the stairs up, you bypass security, voila, it's a free-for-all. So if you wanted to cause harm, go for it. And it's quite frankly, it's quite terrifying because nothing's going to change until something bad happens. It won't. We all know that. But frankly, it's terrifying to me to think somebody's there for jury service, somebody's there paying a parking ticket, some yay who's got a grudge against the judge because the judge took his kids away, comes up there and opens up and spreads a cartridge. That issue alone demands change in the Hall of Justice. Because everybody deserves to feel safe and protected in that space, which is a very volatile place. Okay. We are asking, so the state of Washington pays half of my salary, and the Cowlitz County pays half of my salary. It's kind of weird, but that's the way they do it. We have 5 elected judges, and that's how they're paid. We have court commissioners who are lawyers, part-time judges, and the county pays their full salary, plus benefits. The state pays our benefits. So it's a lot cheaper if we have another judge, because Cowlitz County doesn't pay for but half of their salary and none of their benefits. So we've had an analysis done by the Administrative Office of the Courts. They indicate that we should have 7.1 elected judges, or judicial officers. Right now we have 5 plus a 3/4 time Superior Court Commissioner, so about 5 3/4. So we're short-staffed at this point as far as according to their needs. So we're asking the county commissioners to please fund a 6th judge position. It's a little more complicated than that. The state legislature has to approve it, which I've never seen it denied. And then the county commissioners have to say, as part of that approval, we will pay for that half. So that's what we're proposing. Frankly, I don't know where we're going to put that 6th judge. But I do know we have Zoom hearings, and they can handle some of those. We do have the jail courtroom, which is another jail which is underutilized. We do have a courtroom at the juvenile, or at the juvenile and the jail. There's courtrooms there, so there's potential that we can work something out. So if you hear about that in the news, you heard it here, maybe secondhand or from me or others. But so that's happening, and we're hoping with that to do what we call kind of a judge-specific docket. So right now, I don't know what cases I'm going to go week to week. So there's no continuity. And part of that is that we don't have the staff to track the cases. Washington State is like either 49th or 50th in their funding support for the judiciary. So a lot of it falls on the local Board of County Commissioners. And we all know there's just extra money for everybody. And so we don't receive a lot of financial support to pay for those type of salaries. So there we are. There's that. Last thing, addressing kind of the backlog issues. There's a group called the National Center for State Courts. They've been around about 50 years. They're a federal, well, it used to be a federal agency, but now it's a private company that receives governmental funding. They support state courts, and we hired them to do a study of what's called case flow management. And case flow management is kind of like trying to control chaos. It's like trying to control traffic, right? You can do all you can do. You can time the lights. You can do road design and the like, and yet there's still going to be accidents, and there's still going to be backups that you can't control for. That's what I liken court scheduling to and case flow. It's very similar to that. So they have a lot of tools that they're helping us with, and hopefully they will be providing us to provide a more efficient, can't be perfect, more efficient case flow management of the different cases and lead cases to resolution more quickly. Because if you're going through a divorce in Cowles County, you're looking at about an average time of 1.5 years to finalize something that you decided long ago that you don't want to be involved in. And that's not a fun place to be. It's quite painful. So those are kind of the things I wanted to share with you. And I'm open if you have any questions or good jokes or criticisms. I'm happy to receive any of those if you'd like to share. Or if it's getting warm enough that you want to get into air-conditioned cars, that's good too. Yeah.
Thank you, Judge Michael.
Pat Palmer has a question.
Really?
Yeah, surprising.
Michael, I'm just so thankful that you're on our judiciary. Your calm demeanor, your absolute control in your courtroom. I've watched it. It's commendable, sir. Thank you.
Thanks. It's interesting in our courtrooms, the gavels. There's no gavels in our courtrooms anymore because they used to be kind of like a thing, right? You gavel somebody down. Yeah. Now we've become more evolved now, I guess. We just stop talking.
Yeah.
Or I start talking really soft, and they'll just keep on talking, and eventually somebody will probably they'll peter out, right? Yeah. So it's interesting. Okay. Well, thanks. Oh yes. Hal?
Well, I just wanted to attest. I've testified in this courtroom, and Judge, you were even more than we expected.
Oh, that's nice. Thanks.
Plus, his daughter worked for me, and she was a star.
She's cool.
I just want to make sure everybody understands. Hal and I have not been charged with that.
Not recently.
Right?
And that's the beautiful thing, because like sometimes people will tell me, like, they'll tell their friends, like, yeah, hey, I know a judge, and I think that does you zero good, because if you come before me, I'm going to recuse myself.
Right.
Thanks again for the warm reception. Appreciate it.
Thank you so much, Judge Evans. Don't get too far away. For coming and sharing with us today on what's going on in Cowles County Superior Court. We want to give you our famous mug here for your favorite beverage and a membership application should you decide you would like to join our esteemed group. Thank you so much for being with us. Okay.
Smarter than that, isn't he?
Probably, yeah. Okay, announcements. Today, right, 2 o'clock to about 6-ish, back to school resource fair, hot dog giveaway. I think there's a few people in our club that are going to be participating in that. Anybody here going over? Okay, so we've got some folks to cover that. Friday, nurses, first responders appreciation lunch. We will need volunteers at St. John's Medical Center for that. Jane, do we have a sign up, a formal sign up on that? And Squirrel Fest the following day, Saturday. Unique Tin car shows coming up on the 26th. On the 29th, 2 weeks from today, we have our own annual awards, so be here. We'll be awarded. Okay. And then on the 9th of September, looking ahead into next month, at the Civic Center, there will be the City of Longview Centennial Beer Garden. We will be serving food. So put that on your calendar. Remember that. Your board has approved a new civic improvement / environmental service project in partnership with Longview Parks and Rec, I think, led by our own lion, Rosie Dickinson. And it will be a periodic or maybe semi-annual, it's not project, actual hands-on service project out in a park somewhere. And as more details become available and it develops, we'll keep you abreast of that. You may want to get involved in that one, that'll be a good one. Any additional comments? Any additional announcements? Pat?